So this is my video. If you watched some of my other videos, last time I talked about ISO tanks and pulling chemicals. The company I work for still does some chemical work. They do a lot of glue, a lot of vinyl, a lot of paint products. So, but this one specialty account, we run MC331 propane trailers. They're rated for 265 psi. And I just figured I'll go along and show a couple of the features of the trailer if you've never, even if you've hauled tanks and maybe you've never seen it, or you've seen the propane tanks but really don't quite know how it works. So actually I'm going to start on the other side. I kind of messed up, but it is a little bit different. There's a lot more safety features on these tanks, obviously. So setup is a little bit different. I'm actually just dropping the trailer, so that's kind of why it's so unlike running a chemical trailer where you just set the brakes and start going, actually when you're getting ready to unload, you don't actually set the trailer brakes. It's a little bit different. And you need a constant power supply going to the pigtail. So my truck actually has a constant power supply. I've got an 08 Mac. So the ABS line is constant power. Some of the newer trucks do not have constant power, so it's not that big of a deal. You just gotta rewire the dashboard to, do a switch or something so you have constant power. But so they've got a couple of emergency switches. Here's one here in order for us to offload. So remember, I'm supplying air to the trailer. This will divert. This is the first diverter, so we're going to divert it to secondary line. These are nice air ride trailers. These are 2015 Countryside. They're brand new. We got them in December. They actually ride pretty nice. They're not cheap either. So second one, this is my second emergency shutoff. So both these valves have to be open in order for me to even get the valves open on the tank. And all the magic's done back here. So I don't have air going to it right now, so it's not going to make, I won't be able to set it. But so with those two emergency lines opened, by me pulling this handle and then pulling this handle, that will actually set the trailer brakes. So then the trailer is now set. And once the brakes are then set and the emergency line or the air is supplied to the valves through the brakes being set, I can then start opening valves. So all the valve controls are right here. We have this is the pump internal valve. This is for loading the internal valve. This is for the vapor recovery internal valve. And this is for the spray fill. Obviously, they're named all that. So in order, they're ordered the same way. This is the pump internal valve. This is the liquid internal valve, spray fill internal valve, vapor recovery. And then obviously they've got external valves. So normally when we're offloading, customer I go to, they like to pull a sample. So we pull our, once we open the valves, you'll see this valve line right here. This S-cam will come back out, and you'll know the valve is open. Pull this out, unscrew this, and they hook their testing equipment right to it. Actually, it's like a test tube where they pull pressure out of it. And once they're done, we just close it. And and then they go do their lab sample while I set up. So my situation may be different. I'm not actually hauling propane. I'm actually hauling a different product in a propane trailer. It's mainly used for aerosol cans, things like bug spray, things like hairspray, things like that. Items that need a propellant to push the product out of it. So what I do like about doing these propane trailers or these type of loads is they're very clean. You don't have to worry about spillage like you do with chemicals. It's a lot different. For the product that I haul, we use stainless steel hoses. They're actually stainless steel braided. I don't have them. We actually leave them at the customer because they're so expensive and we don't want them growing legs. But they are stainless steel braided. They're a couple $1,000 just a hose. So yeah, so they're not cheap. So you notice we don't have any cam locks. Everything we do is screw on. Remind me, and I'll actually show you the J wrench I use to actually tighten everything down. But for the most part, this is the offload for the pump. I believe it's a black mirror pump. Yep, black mirror pump. And then we use the vapor recovery. The vapor recovery is not required. When it gets really cold, I was told you don't really have to use it. I use it, but as it starts to heat up and starts to get hotter out here, you're going to start using the vapor recovery because you're trying to push product into another tank that may be at 150 psi. So you're kind of pushing pressure against pressure. By having the vapor recovery, it evens out the pressure between the two tanks and helps the product flow faster. So the one strange thing about this, there's no sight glass. We run everything off of a PSI meter and a temp meter. So this is actually an empty tank, but you can see it's about 40 degrees inside there. It's the inside one, about 40 degrees inside the tank, and the tank pressure empty is sitting right at about 35. So normally when I'm loaded and it's cold outside, cold meaning 40 degrees or less, this pressure sits right around 50, 55. Recently I run between Illinois and Missouri. We had a couple days where actually Missouri and Illinois got in the 70s and the 80s down in Missouri, and this temperature got up to about 65, and you could see the pressure in this thing was up closer to around 100. So really, really hot days. It starts getting in the 90s every day. This pressure is going to be up around 150, 175. Again, it's rated for 225, but I don't ever want to get anywhere near that. So again, this is an MC331. I actually did the specs out of it. From what I could figure out from millimeters using Google conversion, the side here, these sides are made of marine grade steel. In fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday. They made the joke. The thickness on this alone is about 15 inches, roughly about 14.8 inches on the side, and the nose and the tail cones are right around, I believe it's 12 inches thick. So it's a submarine. As somebody kind of made the joke, and I said, yeah, it pretty much is. It's made out of just about the same steel. It's marine grade steel. So yeah, it's a heavy duty tank. I am heavy empty. I left Missouri, tank was empty. I was about a half a tank's, and my empty weight was about 43,000 pounds. That's empty. So I'm usually running right around 79,000. So the couple last things, hydraulic controls. So I showed you the connectors on my truck. Here's the connectors on the trailer. So I just hook them up to the truck and turn the hydro pack on, the PTO on, the hydro pack on, and then once I'm getting the okay to go, I've opened up all the valves. I just go ahead and turn it on, and away she goes. These newer tanks, when it's cold outside, there's not a lot of pressure. These black mirror pumps just unload this stuff incredibly well. I think I average right around about a little under 40 minutes to unload a tank worth of this stuff. As it starts getting hotter, the product starts expanding. It comes a little bit slower, but for the most part, they're actually really quick. I'm just going to show you real quick the tool we use. So here's my J hook. You can see it's a J hook, and it just hooks on the top, and you just loosen it or tighten it down any way you need. So yeah, that's kind of that's what's going on with an MC331 bulk tank. As always, you got any questions or there's something I didn't cover, I'll just point this box out. So this is a pressure box. So what happens if the pressure gets too great or too less while I'm unloading, this will sound an alarm and actually shut the valves off automatically. This is actually not too bad. It's actually not that loud. We've got some older trailers that were built in 72 and 73, and they will get your attention when they go off. I mean, they're really super loud, which I guess you kind of want if a thing's not unloading right or there's too much pressure building up or something. So that's kind of the highlights of the trailer. If you have any questions, hey man, leave them in the comments, and I'll make sure to answer them. Or if there's something that you saw in here that you didn't know what it was, just ask a question. I'm more than happy to answer. I'm trying to do these videos so people can kind of understand what's out there, and maybe get a little closer look at trailers they may not see every day or equipment they may not see every day. So until next time, catch you later.